My student gained 30 yards to every single club in his bag after I gave him this one weird tip. And what that weird tip was not shifting weight in the downswing. Because what we were seeing with my student, he was having this huge lateral hip bump in the downswing because his concept was you had to really shift weight and then rotate. But he had that huge weight shift and then he got his hips so far ahead of the golf ball that he couldn't really do anything else from there. He ultimately got stuck and trapped to where then he had to throw his hands, which would then get the club head past the hands, adding loft and then losing a ton of distance. So for him, not shifting weight and having that feeling of really just almost staying where he is, and there's a really key thing here that we're going to talk about, immediately got him to where then he was less trapped in that downswing and then he could get some good rotation on the shot and start to lean the hands a little bit ahead naturally at impact. So immediately when we did that, after the lesson, he said straight away he went from hitting his 7-iron from 140 to 170 yards. And it was distance that kept there. When he tried all his other clubs in his bag, even with driver, he gained the same amount of yardage. This is huge, but something so many of you amateurs out there are trying to do, and that is shift your weight. So this is where we get into the realms of weight shift versus pressure shift. So we still are getting some weight onto that lead side, but we are more getting our pressure. Because what we see when golfers try to get weight onto their lead side, just like my student, they start to throw their hips massively towards the target. Now, that will always get you reverse spine tilting away like it did with my student. And then from there, you can't turn. You can't continue to turn, so you can't get natural, shaftly natural compression. You have to throw the hands at the golf ball to be able to get on top of the ball. So this is where a lot of amateur golfers will be thinking, all right, I need to weight shift, then rotate. But you can see you can't do weight shift, then rotate. You've got to pressure shift and turn at the same time. So this is where, with my student, we just talked about the concept to start off with, is yes, we get that pressure shifting into the left side. So pressure shift, really feel like there's almost something underneath our foot. This is an old Lee Trevino kind of visual here, like we're smushing a bug underneath that left foot. That's getting that pressure shifting, but at the same time, it's getting you opening up and rotating with the lower body. So important. The downswing happens too fast to do two big movements. You have to do them at the same time. So really having that smushing movement of underneath, like a bug underneath your left foot or crushing a can, gets the pressure shifting. And when the pressure shifting and that rotation happens simultaneously, you're going to see what happens to the upper body. So let's do one with a slide, a weight shift, and one with a pressure shift, and we'll compare them side by side. So here's the weight shift, and now we'll do a pressure shift. So as we can see there, one, the contact was amazingly different. But two, we can see when that pressure shifts, we stay nicely on top. The upper body does not tilt and spine tilt away. And if that upper body is staying nicely on top of the lower body and having that gradual pressure shift, we're going to naturally be having some better compression because we can continue to rotate. But then when we look at the weight shift swing where the hips slide and bump away and do the classic bump then turn, which is impossible to do, we're going to see how, absolutely, I've bumped, but now the hands and arms are thrown because the rotation can't happen. So you've got to imagine, even from a speed standpoint, if you're having this movement that is stalling out and slowing down rotation, and again, you're stuck, you can't generate good speed into that golf ball. You have to then try really hard with your hands, which is the mechanism that a lot of players try to do. They try to have a ton of hand movement and flash speed going through the golf ball to create speed. So many amateur golfers think speed is created with the hands. It's absolutely not. You can create speed with them, but it's not the main power source. It's a very volatile power source, that's for certain. Look at the rotation that's going to make to the club face. That's where we need a more consistent way. So let's talk about the drills we did with my student to be able to make this really work nicely and not getting that weight shift. So ultimately, I gave my student 3 drills to do here. Now, with these 3 drills, they all target this movement pattern in different ways, but it'd be great for all of you to give these all a go because some of them are going to click more than others. So this lesson as well was all done on Skillist online. This is where online lessons are super powerful to make great changes into your golf swing. In my opinion, way more powerful than in-person lessons. So First drill we did here, chair drill. Slightly different to the chair drill I normally talk about on my channel, because this chair drill is very simple for what we got to do. This is purely just blocking that excessive hip bump. So us talking about the concept of smushing the bug underneath that left heel, the Lee Trevino feel. Now, if we can have that same concept, but make sure there is a chair just about a hand's distance outside that left leg, that is going to ensure we're not going to over weight shift and get more of a pressure shift. So if I hit a ball here, we're going to see, so that nice amount of hands distance, we're going to see, make great contact, get great pressure shift, but no weight shift or hip bump shift. So brilliant. So a really, really good one to be able to get that lateral movement nicely synced up well. So this one, very simplistic. This is the most simple drill out of this today for sure. And it's really good just to calm down that excessive pattern. And sometimes that's all you really need if you've got an excessive pattern, is something that completely takes it away. So that with the concept of smushing a bug, it blended those movement patterns in very nicely. Chair drill, really good. And when you make sure you're doing this out there, don't have the chair in front of you like this. So something I see people do all the time. Where you're going to swing the golf club now. So you've got to have this just so where it's at kind of like the middle of the side of your leg there. So that's not affecting your swing coming through. Really, really important one. So that was our first drill we had a good go at. So let's get to the second drill here. So the second drill, a classic of the channel, alignment stick through the belt loops. So with this alignment stick drill here, what we do, we put the stick through our belt loops to a tiny bit comes out on the right, a lot of it comes out on the left. This is the brilliant drill, best drill for this problem, because this absolutely works on the entirety of the pressure shift and the rotation simultaneously. So we said the smushing of the bug, what does that do? Pressure shifts and rotates. That's where we can work on this with this. So if we can, at the top of the backswing, going into the downswing, get this stick staying angled down but disappearing around us as we do so, that's going to be getting that pressure into that lead side, but that's also going to be rotating us so then upper body and lower body can stay nicely on top of each other, and we can just continue to turn nicely through the golf ball without having to get stuck, spine tilt away and flip with the hands, losing tons of distance. Like I said, 30 yards. This is really, really good drill. Even for me, this gains a ton of distance. So let's do one here, down and around in transition, smooshing the bug. Brilliant. Absolutely love this drill. Really, really good one. This is the drill I do a ton with my own golf swing. So many benefits you can do for it. So again, another one down and around in transition, smooshing the bug. Boom. Really good one. So absolutely awesome. You really get that feeling of pressure shifting after this. There's one more drill. Now this drill is without a golf ball. So play around with those ones at the range. Get the feeling of what one you like the best. Look on camera. I can't stress this enough. You have to look on camera. There's not a video that I will ever do where you don't look at yourself on camera to see whether you're doing something. Feels aren't real on the golf swing, so I want you to visually be able to see what you're doing. So this is the one without a golf ball. I talk about this tons and tons as well. And this is the resistance band drill. So with the resistance band, all we do here, we have a resistance band up to an upright here, and this teaches us how to pressure shift properly. And it also teaches us great sequencing. So this is going to be a cool angle you're going to see this from as well. So I'm up to a makeshift top of the backswing, and you're going to see I'm going to pressure shift, get that weight into that left side, into that left heel, smushing the bug, but you're going to see at the same time my hips are opening up, they're rotating. So it's teaching me this really core movement pattern. So if I can do a ton of that, I can do it at home, I can do it, let's say, at the driving range, in a net, just tying it around something. Really doesn't have to be at a particular perfect height. Just needs to be something where you're getting resistance, where you can't do anything with your body. You certainly can't hip bump from there. You can only get that pressure shifting into that left foot and then really twisting and turning at the same time. So what I recommend, do a ton of that. And then let's say if you've run that to the driving range, you can then do it into the golf ball afterwards. Getting that same feel, getting that pressure into that left leg, really smooshing that bug. And it'll get into your swing better. So it's like I said, we've got a couple drills to do there. We've got the stick drill, we've got the chair drill. Again, very simplistic ways. There's also ways to work on it a little bit more complex, and obviously ways that you can work on it at home as well. So if you make sure you're not shifting weight and you're shifting pressure, you're going to be way better off, because you're going to get that better body pivot movement, and you're going to get some really awesome torquing movement in the golf swing, the torquing with the ground. So you can pick up 3 clubs on every single club, so 30 yards longer, just like my student do. So if you enjoyed this video, click that like button if you want more golf instruction, just like this. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button too to be notified every time I put out a video.